we have these beautiful narratives in our gospel of the drama that plays out at the birth of Jesus, from them going to Nazareth, from the shepherds, and then now we have the kings, the wise men, coming to visit Jesus. A beautiful, very graphic, illustrative narrative of the birth of Jesus. And really one gift that this gives to us is that it allows us to easily place ourselves in the story, as it were, to imagine ourselves in the story. And when we do this, when we imagine ourselves and we think of ourselves as being integrated and part of Scripture, it's able to give us an insight about our own lives. What I mean by that, for example, imagine ourselves to be like those three kings or those wise men that are searching for Jesus. And maybe it might be hard to relate in the sense that, I don't know who among us are kings or queens or are from royal descent. I know I am not. So it might be hard to relate in that sense. But one sense, I think that it's easy to relate to these three individuals, or supposedly three wise men who came to see Jesus, is that we find in the story that they are very much lost. They're confused. They know they have a purpose in life. They know they're looking for Jesus, but they're lost. And they follow the star, and they find themselves in a strange place, in a foreign land, probably not even being able to speak the language there. And I don't know about yourself, but I can sort of relate to that, of sort of feeling maybe out of place. I know God has a purpose for me, but I'm still searching. I still need to find my way, and I need help. Who among us hasn't ever felt that way, where we're searching and we need help? I think it's part of our own human condition. I think in that way, maybe we can relate and put ourselves into this story as possibly similar to the three kings. Another part of this three kings is that they're individuals who are searching for a king. They themselves are royalty. They have gifts and talents, but they're searching for the King of Kings. They know that somehow in their life, there's something incomplete. God has a purpose for them, and it drives them forward. I know I have felt like that, and I hope that all of us know that God has a purpose for each one of us, that there's something in the human spirit that always pulls the best out of us, wanting to stretch ourselves, to be more, that God is always calling us to improve ourselves, to be better in life, that God has a purpose for us, that the gifts and talents we have, God has a reason for them to be in our life, and we want to give and find that purpose so that everything we do has a meaning. They are searching for this. They're searching for fulfillment in their life. There's something in these wise men, these three kings, that is incomplete, and they want to fill that gap in their life. Again, I think we can relate. I know I can relate. I believe it is St. Augustine who said that God has created in us human beings a God-shaped hole that only God can fill. When we try to fill this void in our life through the worldly things of this earth, they satisfy sometimes for a little bit, but they never are a perfect fit. They never fill the void. We can get distracted from the pleasures of this world, but really the pleasures of this world don't fulfill our deepest longing. And only God fulfills that. And so in these two ways that these three kings are searching, these kings find that themselves to be lost sometimes, something is incomplete, and they're searching for this fulfillment. I think it's good for us to look at the scriptures in this way and to find ourselves in this story. Now, there's one other aspect that I think drives my point home, and it has to do with the star. So here are these individuals searching for Jesus, and what God puts in their path is a star. It's this visible sign, and they know this is from God somehow, and they search him out. They follow this prompting of a star that leads them ultimately to Jerusalem. And then with the guidance of the people there in Jerusalem, it leads them ultimately, the star leads them ultimately to see Jesus face to face and to greet him. No, I don't know if we literally have a star that we look up to that guides us, but I believe that God does guide us. I believe that God has a hand in our life where he has a loving care for us, so that every situation that we encounter, our life experiences, that they're filled with meaning, that if we discern, we can find meaning and direction, and we can find the hands of God guiding us in various ways. I think, for example, when we're young and we are searching out our gifts, our talents, where, what are these things that we're good at, and what are those things that we're not so good at? And just discovering those things in our life that maybe you find that, wow, you're good at drawing, or you're good at reading, or English, or another language, or you're good at math, or you're good at science, or you're good at sports. And these experiences that we have, even in our youth, already sort of set a direction in our life. They kind of give us guidance in our life. Or we find happiness and joy in a certain area, and that kind of guides us in a certain direction. But even in our life, when we encounter difficulties in our life, maybe someone passes away, maybe we lose a job, or we have a difficulty in another way. Somehow a door is closed in our life because of some event that happens. And even as painful as those experiences can be, I believe God speaks to us even in those kind of events to guide us, that there is a meaning embedded in all the experiences of our life, if only we take the time to reflect and to ask God, Lord, why am I experiencing this in my life? What is the meaning for this in my life? How are you guiding me, Lord, having experienced this now in my life? Where are you calling me in my life? It's sort of like a star, isn't it? That God is guiding us in our life. Ultimately, to see God face to face in Jesus. I believe this is truly our destiny. This is truly the hand of God leading all of us in very particular, very special ways, that we all in our uniqueness are following a star that God has put in our life. So this Epiphany, we look upon this story of the three kings, and we look back at the history of this, and we thank God for this beautiful event in Jesus' life. And as real as that might be, I believe it is the true meaning of Epiphany comes when we apply it in our own life. And to see that God has set us forward to embark on a journey also in our life. And that he is with us, he is guiding us ultimately to meet Jesus face to face as well. So we celebrate Epiphany for ourselves, that God might guide us to him through all the events of our life, similar to the three kings. God bless you.